Welcome to Best Life 30, your 30-day journey to creating the best life possible for yourself. You can just watch this video, or if you want to sign up for the entire series for free and get the companion bonus worksheets that go with this video, check the link in the description below. All right, so today is day 20, and we're going to learn how you can create a powerful evening routine.
So other than the 5-second rule, there is one habit that I have adopted in the last 3 years that has fundamentally changed me as a business person. And it has also changed my ability to manage my emotions so I don't get hijacked. I do not allow my phone in the bedroom. I know the research. Deloitte just did a study based on phone use alone, and 33% of people are reading emails in the middle of the night. I know that if you go to bed and the phone is right next to you, right? So you go to bed because you need your phone. You know, somebody might need you, and you sleep. You know, if this is right here and it's not closed and the blue light is on, they've done studies where they have people at a table and the researcher will put their phone on the table, not even my phone, the researcher's phone, and the brain lights up like crazy, just with the presence of a phone. The research around the phone and sleep is so stunning that if you were to adopt one radical thing today other than the 5-second rule, try putting your phone outside your bedroom, turn off the bzz, 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 so you don't hear it. Tell people who need to reach you to call you. My kids, I have a kid in college, a kid who's high school, kid in middle school. If there's an emergency, call me. There is nothing happening on your phone at 2 o'clock in the morning that's important. But if you allow yourself to become a tool of this is supposed to be your tool for selling, your tool for communicating, and we're all becoming the tool. Here's the other thing, common sense-wise, that I want you to understand. You wake up, the alarm goes off. What do? Whoop! So you're not even vertical, and you're reading emails. And what is in these emails? Other people's crap. If you don't have boundaries with this puppy, it's going to impact sleep, it's going to impact how much money you make, it's going to impact how much self-control you have. And so when I put this thing outside the bedroom and I wake up, I walk over to where the phone is, it's plugged into my bathroom, I turn it off, I don't look at it yet. I give myself 5 minutes. 5 minutes before I tune into the world to actually tune in up here and say, what's the one thing I'm going to get done today that really matters to me? If you're the kind of person that feels like you don't have control over your day, that your day gets hijacked, that you can't get to the priorities, that you're always behind the ball, this one planning thing will change your life. No phone in the bedroom, turn it off when the alarm goes off, 5 minutes, 5 lousy minutes, 5 lousy minutes before you tune into the rest of the world. And if you've got the kind of job where you've got to check it, get up 10 minutes earlier. You have control over this stuff, and it is so important that you take it seriously now because you're living at the slowest moment of your entire life.
In that hour to 90 minutes prior to sleep, dim the lights in your house. Don't look at any screens anymore. That means no TV and no handhelds. You're not Twittering and Facebooking and doing all the other things on your phone. And I really mean no texting either. Just stop in that last hour. That means if you want to read a book, go ahead, read a book. Don't read like magazines with dozens and dozens of pictures to start dropping dopamine in the back of your brain stem. Just read one thing, read one article or one book, or journal and plan your day with no noise, no TV. I mean, I know you might have the kids and they might be loud and everything else, but then turn the TV out for yourself. And you're like, but Brendan, I gotta fall asleep with the TV. No, you don't, you just taught yourself to. Trust me, thousands and thousands of years of human history passed with no television. They slept just fine. I'm sure if you've ever gone camping or been in the great outdoors, you're like, wow, I sleep amazing. It's because you're not watching television, I hope. Now people, they're in the campgrounds, Travis, watching their iPads, It's like, you gotta turn it off. Dim the lights, no screens, no sounds, stimulation. Just chill the last hour and it'll allow you to kind of glide yourself into bed, calm, cool, you'll sleep like a champ.
I went for 10 years with an average of 5 to 6 hours of sleep. I felt like it was genetic and I felt like I had a ton of energy, until something happened. And that thing that happened was I was totally crushed about 2 years ago. I'd been burning it at both ends, working 20 hours a day, not getting any sleep. I went to Hawaii and I said, you know what, I'm gonna have zero schedule on vacation. I slept 14 hours a day for like 6 days straight, and I felt completely different than I had for the previous like 6-8 weeks that I'd been burning at both ends. Now, starting about a year ago, I started tracking my sleep, and I aim to stay in bed for 8 hours a day. I can tell you that I'm definitively way smarter, way nicer, more in touch with my creative side, way more in touch with my intellect, and I'm just a better human when I have more sleep.
Rich, why do you sleep in a tent? For those that don't know, for the last 2 years, I've been sleeping outside in this thing. A lot of people have been asking me, why do you do that? And it basically boils down to 3 fundamental reasons. The first is, I just sleep better in a tent outside. The second reason is that it really has helped me connect with nature and the outdoors, and I think our primal disposition. And the third reason I've been doing it is because fundamentally it's a stoic practice. A couple of years ago, I started struggling with trying to get a deep sleep. Unless I was training super duper hard, I just found it difficult to get the restfulness that my body and my mind need. And at the time, our bedroom that I share with my wife, Julie, was either too cold for her or too hot for me. Then I had an experience where we as a family all slept on our roof one night. We have a flat roof and we did it just for fun with the kids. And I had the most restful, peaceful night of sleep in recent memory. Being outdoors, breathing that outdoor air, sleeping under the stars is a very simple and basic way of reconnecting with what it means to be fundamentally human. We live in this super fast-paced culture. You gotta get your hustle on. You gotta work 24 hours a day. And if you're not being productive in every moment of your waking existence, then you're wasting time and you're falling behind. And with that comes a deprioritization of sleep. Sleep is for slackers, right? And nothing could be further from the truth. I know that I can't perform at my very best unless I get 8 hours of sleep. And it's not just the amount of time that I sleep, it's the quality of that sleep, it's the caliber of that sleep. It is my opinion that everybody should be doing everything they can to enhance that quality of their evening hours. And I found that by sleeping in a tent, it's almost like this hack towards improving the caliber of my sleep so that I can show up throughout my day and excel, be totally focused, be totally present, have good energy, be in a good mood, and all of that derives from sleep. So if you really take the time to prioritize the quality and the amount of time that you're sleeping every night, you will realize quantum gains in your productivity, in your output throughout your day.
Before we get started, do you mind if I put my phone to sleep here on this phone bed here? Can you tell us about this phone bed of yours?
Yes. We launched Thrive in December 2016, so just over a year ago. And there was one product that I wanted to launch at the same time with the company, and that's this phone bed. It's actually a charging station. We are all addicted to our phones. What we recommend is that you put this little phone bed charging station outside all the bedrooms in the home. And then at night, everybody puts their phones to sleep. And you put them under the blanket, you tuck them in, you say goodnight. And the idea is that while the phone is sleeping and charging, you are sleeping and recharging.
I love the idea.
Over 70% of people sleep with their phones by their bed. According to all the latest science, the worst thing you can do for your sleep
is to sleep with your phone on your bed.
The phone is the repository of every project, every problem, everything we're dealing with when we're awake. Therefore, it needs to be separated from us when we're asleep and recharging so that we can wake up fully recharged and deal with whatever life brings us. When Jeff Bezos, for example, wrote on Thrive, a piece, the headline he chose was, why my sleeping 8 hours a night is good for Amazon shareholders. It went crazy viral and had a big impact on people. because he analyzed his decision making.
Yes.
And he said, the value I bring to Amazon is the quality of my decisions. And if I get 6 hours, if I get less than my optimal 8 hours, he has analyzed that his decisions are 5 to 20% less good. So I'll give you my routine. I'll give you my nightly ritual. But what I recommend for everybody watching is to create your own ritual. I mean, it's almost like I give you a menu and you need to experiment and see what is it that does it for you.
Sure.
For me, it's like 30 minutes before I'm going to go to sleep, turning off all my devices and gently escorting them out of the bedroom.
Escorting them out.
They'll be there in the morning.
You put them on a horse.
You put them in the little homes outside the bedroom. Turning off the lights, the bright lights, making it sort of, I just have one nightstand light and one light in the bathroom. Then having a really, really hot, wonderful bath.
Really? Warm bath?
Yeah, with Epsom salts, which are very relaxing, and flickering candles. But if you guys don't like baths, have a shower.
I don't like baths.
Okay,
I've got one, but I've never used it, yeah.
You can have a shower.
Yeah, and hot is better than cold.
Oh, yeah, you basically want to slow down your brain, soothe your muscles, everything is like powering it down.
I guess when you're going to a hot tub late at night, I always feel ready to sleep.
Exactly, feel exactly. The hot tub is a perfect.
So do a hot tub dip if you have a hot tub.
If you have a hot tub, go to a hot tub.
Okay.
I don't have a hot tub, so I do the bath, and then put on. If you sleep naked, you sleep naked. But if you wear PJs or a night dress or whatever, make sure that you wear clothes for bed. I used to sleep in my gym clothes.
Really?
And then your brain gets these confusing messages. Are we going to the gym or are we powering down? So even if you're a t-shirt, make sure it's not a t-shirt you wear to the gym. And then in bed, I only read physical books. I don't read anything on screens. Yeah. And anybody who is reading The Sleep Revolution in bed, I will consider it a personal victory if you actually fall asleep while reading it.
Read 20 pages a night, fall asleep. Yeah.
Whatever, 10 pages, you get drowsy, you let the book drop, you turn off the light, you're asleep. So that is incredibly important. For those who have children, you know that's how you put your child to bed. You don't just drop your child in bed. You
read to them.
You give them a bath, you put them in their PJs, you read to them, you kind of transition. It's like the good night moon. You say good night to everything, which is really a demarcation line between your day with all its stresses, however blessed our lives may be. Every day has stresses, challenges, difficult things, and incompletions. There's nobody who has any interesting job or is a busy mom who finishes the day and says, I did absolutely everything.
Yeah, it's always something
that was on my list or I should have done. Never.
Yeah.
So you need to somehow tell your brain and your body, we did what we did this day. And now the day has come to a close. And we need to fully
cross
recharge,
the line, right?
We need cross the line. We need to cross that line.
Not be in bed on the screen thinking about work and then trying to sleep at the same time, creating a cutoff line.
I just really, I wish I could sort of convey that feeling that I absolutely, totally believe now to everybody watching, because I promise that if you do this, every aspect of your life will improve. If you have any lingering doubt that you're not going to be as productive, just try it.
Yeah.
Because it's like getting in the Tesla. You're going to get to your destination faster, right? Smoother.
Cleaner.
With kind of consuming less energy.
How do I start my day on the positive side? I often wake up anxious and stressed. Well, Craig, thank you very much for sending in your question. I would like to respond by first asking you a question, and my question is, what do you do before you go to sleep at night? See, most people before they go to sleep at night are either checking their email on social media, watching a violent TV show or horror movie, or reading a scary book. All of those things can make you have a very restless sleep. And chances are when you wake up in the morning, you could feel very anxious and stressed. So for example, if you go to sleep thinking about work, then your subconscious is just going to be involved throughout the night on work-related issues. And when you wake up in the morning, chances are you can be anxious and quite stressed about it as well. So the best way to wake up not feeling anxious or stressed is to prepare to go to bed. And that's not something that people do very often. Here are a few simple things that you can do to prepare to go to bed. You should stop working at least half an hour before you go to sleep. So turn off your email, don't go on social media, just completely shut off, go take a shower, prepare to go to bed. And when you get to bed, sit on the edge of your bed, keep your spine straight, your head nicely balanced on top of your neck. Take a slow, deep breath in, and then slowly exhale again. And while you're doing this deep breathing exercise, focus entirely on your spine. And if you can't feel your spine, gently move your back from left to right a little bit so you can feel your spine. Focus on your spine as you breathe in deeply and as you exhale slowly as well. And then just lay down on your back and go to sleep. And obviously this is going to take practice. May not work the first day, the second day, but if you consistently do this every night before you go to sleep, you'll start having really good, deep, restful sleep and wake up not feeling anxious or stressed.
How important is rest and how much do you get of it? I'm trying hard at the moment to pursue my dreams, but sometimes I feel out of balance because I lack sleep, for example. All right, boys and girls, I'm telling you, I'm just gonna be super arrogant for a second. I built $1 billion business without setting an alarm. Prioritize sleep. I work a lot. In fact, I'll take the Pepsi challenge. Anybody that wants to go head to toe with me in terms of what you get done, not just raw number of hours aimed at a computer or whatever it is that you're supposed to be doing and performing totally suboptimally. I'll just take the Pepsi challenge on that. I always prioritize sleep. I always prioritize my psychological optimization. So for instance, if I'm working around the clock, in fact, this happened not too long ago. I was just working so many hours and it ended up encompassing too many things that took more energy than they were giving that I started to feel anxious. In fact, I started to feel claustrophobic. That's exactly how I felt. I wanted to crawl out of my own skin. I don't know how else to explain it. It's just like, it was driving me nuts. And I realized I need to chill for a minute. I need to meditate. I need to take an hour and go do something that's still moving me towards my dreams because that's my thing, but that I really enjoy. And so maybe in those moments I go read a comic because we're building a comic book publishing empire. So that's part of what I need to do anyway. But reading the comic is fun. I also need to meditate and just literally breathe from my diaphragm. So get the sleep that you need. That's super critical. You do not need to set an alarm. Sleep as much as you need to. And by the way, if you're doing things that are exciting to you, I know people, some of you are gonna believe me because hopefully I've earned the credibility with you up to this point, and some of you are gonna call total bullshit. You can ask my wife. I can set an internal alarm clock in my mind only if I'm excited about something or really stressed out, but that's a whole nother thing which I try hardly to do ever. But when I'm really excited about something, I can set an internal alarm clock. This morning, I told myself, wake up at 4:15. What time did I wake up, boys and girls? Not 4:14, not 4:16. I woke up at 4:15 because that was the time that I told myself to wake up. I can usually get within 5 minutes of what time I tell myself to wake up. It doesn't always work. And if I'm tired, I don't give myself that edict. I tell myself to sleep as much as I need. But when I'm really excited about something, there's something I want to get up and work on, and I'm afraid there just won't be enough time, and it's a reasonable amount of sleep. I'll say anything north of 5 hours, I can usually get myself to just wake up. So get the sleep. Prioritize cognitive optimization because then you're efficient, and efficiency is the name of the game. So sleep, sleep, sleep. I am not a guy proposing set your alarm, get up at 4 a.m. no matter what. It's not me. Go to bed early, get your sleep, meditate, get in a good, peaceful, calm, creative state so that you can really crush it.
I've had the best coach over the last 7 years that I've known him, and that's Craig Ballantyne.
What do you think is the biggest lesson you learned from him in the last 7, 8 years?
The biggest lesson was to sleep at the same time, wake up at the same time, 7 days a week, no matter what.
Really?
Sleep is so valuable. It's so important.
Yeah,
it's so underrated. I used to think that, here's what I'm a fighter jet. I would literally walk around the house, honey, I'm a fighter jet. Fighter jet, doesn't even come down to get refueled. They're up there getting refueled, right?
Right.
We've all seen the YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Well, the fighter jet, if they leave those afterburners on too long, they just fall out of the sky, which no one had told me.
Right.
Until I fell out of the sky. I was having essential tremors and anxiety attacks and not realizing it. And as I got better at sleep, those just went away because one discipline leads to another and to another. How you do anything is how you do everything, right? And so that one thing that he taught me, or I learned through him, and we'd be in Vegas, we'd run a mastermind together because now we run a mastermind together. And at 8 o'clock, and he's gone. Buddy, where are you going? Like,
sleep.
Yeah.
I'm in bed by 9 or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly. And he powers off 30 minutes, all his electronics before. So now I do the same thing. I power off. I don't go to bed and then do this.
Yeah.
I'm powered off 30 minutes before, and my mind stops racing, and the left and right side start reconciling of the information I took in throughout the day versus the information I keep consuming, taking it, right? Until I fall asleep, and then Lord knows what happens in my brain.
Right. What time do you go to bed and wake up?
10:30. 10:30,
wow.
I'm in bed, wake up at 5:30.
Wow.
And it's been like
no matter what, even if you're in Vegas or traveling around the world or whatever.
Yeah, I'll adjust to that time zone real quickly, and 10:30 I'm in bed, 5:30 a.m. I wake up, and I go right through my rituals.
So sleep, my opinions on sleep. My opinions on sleep depend on how many sessions of sleep you get per day. So most people in this room will be familiar with what's called monophasic sleep. That's just go to bed, wake up. You get one session of sleep. If you're doing that, or speaking from a personal basis, if I'm doing that, I like to get 9 to 10 hours of sleep. I sleep a lot. If, on the other hand, you're doing what's called polyphasic sleep, where you break it up into multiple segments per day, and that can be taken to an extreme in something called Uberman, which is, I believe, 2.5 hours of total sleep per day, which is comprised of 20-minute naps. Not terribly social, as you can imagine. That can be sustained, and there's a lot of debate about this. There are long articles online about why it's impossible. I can't divulge it yet, but I can say right now I'm using some, along with a few other groups, some pretty sophisticated equipment to demonstrate that it is possible. We're tracking people using EEGs while they sleep on Uberman. So it can be done. Should you do it? That's a separate question. For most people, it's going to be completely untenable and unsustainable. But there are people like Matt Mullenweg, usually called the lead developer or one of the lead developers of WordPress. And while he was working on WordPress, he had his most productive year of coding, probably produced, I'm just speculating here, but 60% of the WordPress code in 1 year, and he was following Uberman. To most people, if you feel like you have to sleep 2 hours a day to get more done, I would say let's look at the time management first before we start cutting you back to 2 hours. But those would be my feelings.
If you want to be an effective entrepreneur, you need to be able to have good quality sleep. This is the most important aspect of making sure that you are running on all cylinders. The quality of your sleep matters just as much, if not more, than how long you sleep. And for me as an entrepreneur with so much on my mind all the time, I can't have a mattress that causes me to toss and turn. The more rest I have, the quality of sleep, no tossing and turning, the comfort, it allows me to make better decisions, have better energy the next day, just truly be the most efficient Gerard that I can possibly be.
The more time we spend in bed awake, not sleeping, the more time it drives home the message to our brain and to our body that the bed is the place for tossing and turning, not the place for sleeping. If all the time you spend in bed, if most of that time is spent sleeping, you train yourself, you program yourself that that's what the bed is for. But on the other hand, if you're spending a lot of time awake, what you end up doing is the opposite. You end up programming yourself to be awake, which is why a lot of times people can feel really, really tired. Then they get into bed and their mind starts going and they don't quite know why.
I've been there. Okay, but now if you just can't sleep, does time really matter?
So this is a really important question. Time during the night can be a slippery thing. Sometimes it feels like an hour has gone by, but it's only been 5 minutes. But on the other hand, sometimes it feels like only a few minutes have gone by, but it might have been a half an hour. Well, the problem is the more time you spend in bed awake, not sleeping, the more likely you're going to develop some sort of insomnia. So what you need to do is once you've hit around 20, 30 minutes, maybe a little more, depending on who you are, you've gotten to the point where that sleep is not happening, and it's best to just get out of bed, do something else for a little bit, and just try again in a little while.
Okay, so if 30 minutes have passed, get up and do something, but what kind of activity would you be doing in the middle of the night exactly?
So you want something that's not too exciting, because you want to be able to put it down in 30 minutes or 45 minutes or however long you want to give yourself before you try again. So if you get too engrossed in it, so if you're someone who gets engrossed in a book, that might not be the best idea. But if you're someone for whom a book relaxes you, it's a great idea. Also, you might want to avoid doing work, because sometimes when people pick up the computer and start working in the middle of the night, a lot of time can go by, and you might end up waking yourself up a little more, and it might be hard to get back to sleep. Also, don't do anything that involves turning on the bright lights. And so if you're using a computer or something, make sure the lights are pretty dim so that it doesn't wake you up too much.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially with all the social media we have and all the gadgets. But now that sounds like we're kind of giving up on the idea of getting any rest because we're getting up. Is that the case?
No, you're not giving up. What you're saying is you're being realistic, that sleep isn't happening right now. And the more you chase after it, the further away it's going to get. What you need to do is let that anxiety go. Let that stress go. Just accept the fact, okay, sleep is not going to happen right now. But if you're going to sleep well later, you need to give it a break and try again later. If anything, you'll end up sleeping more in the long run. In the short run, maybe a little less, but you'll end up sleeping more in the long run because you're going to be programming your brain, that the bed is for sleep, not for wake.
The last thing we have to talk about is improving your sleep environment, and that involves your bed itself, the amount of light in your room, the sounds, the odors, the temperature, a lot of different factors. So we're going to briefly go through a few of them here, and while we do that, for each one, ask yourself if you could be making any improvements. So first up, let's talk about your pillow. A couple of things about pillows. Number one, you want to replace yours every couple of years, both because it breaks down over time and gets less supportive, but also because every night you're sleeping on it, you're kind of injecting that pillow with lots of dirt and germs and body odor and stuff that makes it gross, which can make it harder to fall asleep. Secondly, and this was news to me until just recently, there are different kinds of pillows for different kinds of sleepers. For example, I am a side sleeper, and for years I was just using like the most non-supportive, awful pillows until I learned that a side sleeper probably is going to need a firmer pillow that has these gussets on the side of it instead of just the two pieces of fabric that are stapled directly together. And after sleeping on this thing for about a week now, I can tell you it is a lot better than the stuff I was using before. When it comes to the temperature in your room, cooler is better. And according to the National Sleep Foundation, the optimal temperature range for sleeping is somewhere between 60 degrees Fahrenheit and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. The amount of light in your room, or should I say lack of light, plays a big role as well, because pitch darkness actually plays a big role in melatonin secretion. So if you have a lot of ambient light coming into your room from like a street light outside your apartment, you can pick up a blackout curtain, which will basically eliminate that light altogether. I've actually got one right there that I use for filming. Also, if you happen to fall asleep with the TV on, you should probably try to break that habit because, well, blue light. Now, if you're one of those people who thinks that the TV is soothing and they just can't fall asleep without it, there are some sound-based alternatives. And actually, silence really isn't the optimal solution for all people because silence is so often inconsistent. There's a bump in the night, or there's a voice in the other room, or there's somebody snoring in the same room as you. So having some sound that can block out those inconsistencies can really help you fall asleep. One option you can check out is ambient noise generators, which can generate both white noise, which is basically just consistent noise that sounds a little bit like an air conditioner, and ambient noises like rain and thunder. And for me, my favorite one is Noisely, because you can add as many as you want, you can change the volume of each one, and basically create the perfect mix for you. There's also lots of music out there that's good for falling asleep too. I've made a playlist of my own and found several on Spotify, and I'll link to those down below, but my favorite way to fall asleep is with audiobooks. For me at least, there is nothing better to fall asleep to than spoken word. And in fact, ever since I discovered audiobooks back when I was probably 12 or 13, all the way up until I graduated high school and got a roommate in college, I would fall asleep every single night to either Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card or The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. And as a result, I have huge swaths of both of those books basically memorized.
How to increase the quality of sleep? Don't try to increase the quality of sleep. The ideal way to live is, there is no sleep in my life. But that's not possible right now, still body has some inertia. So it sleeps minimum. Rest of the time, it is at ease. If you keep this at ease, then sleep does not occur to the body unless it comes to a certain point of exhaustion. So body is never ever asking for sleep, but it is definitely asking for rest. If you do not know how to sit here in a restful manner, it will try to rest like this. If you can sit here totally at ease, it'll sit here for hours without falling asleep. Otherwise, this is the only way it knows how to rest. So do not try to increase the quality of sleep. There's no such thing. Just learn to keep your body restful and at ease consciously. If you sit here now, one simple thing you can do is you sit down, you come and sit down here. Just move your attention from the top of your head down to your toes and see if everything is loose and easy and relaxed and at ease. Are you sitting like this? Just sit, just bring this to ease.